Hi, so this is my friend Miriam. She was my client 8 years ago, and we did Kolbe as part of that work. And I invited her to join us today to talk about what the benefits for her of knowing her Kolbe score. So let's start with that. Miriam's 9623. We'll show you that as a graphic. So Miriam, talk a minute about how it's been helpful for you personally and professionally, knowing your score.
Sure. Hi, Susan. So I would say this was years ago that we did this report, and thinking back on it, knowing I was going to talk to you today, I I thought about what did I take away? I didn't take away the details of the 18 pages of the report. I took away that I came up as a 9 in one of those categories, and that was in, you call it specify, but it's basically high in data. And I already knew that about myself, right? I was always the kind of person who would research vacuum cleaners for 4 hours before making a decision. You could give me a task at work to research the industry of the software industry in this specific area, and I would do all the research happily, get all the details, slim it, make a huge spreadsheet, slim it down into a few suggestions, and then make those suggestions. That's where my forte is. I'd say that's what I took most from doing this assessment, and it's been very helpful. It's been helpful, one, in solidifying that I'm a little different. 9, so Susan had told me that being a 9 is obviously 9 out of 10 is unusual, that 90 to 95% of people require less data than me to make a decision. And that was immediately helpful at work when I did this assessment, because I worked for a sales guy. I was an operations person working for a sales guy, and I would send him emails with 50 bullet points, very thorough, and he wouldn't read them. And we had tension over that. I felt that he wasn't, validating me or caring about my work. And he was just saying, you've got this. I found in my life, personally and professionally, that nobody questions my ability to gather data, to analyze data, to massage the data, to make decisions off of the data. And so I realized through doing Kolbe how to back off of my communications with people that don't need that much data. But it has been, I would say, both personally and professionally difficult, because I want to share the data and I want other people to match me in that data. So if I'm working with someone on a project and they broad strokes me, I find that very frustrating. I find it frustrating in my personal life when somebody throws out a figure that I don't think is totally accurate, even if it doesn't matter. I fact check my friends all the time and tell them in the minute. And so I would say it's been a double-edged sword in that way.
So that was going to be my next question, is how do you manage yourself now that you know this? So you can interact with people who don't meet your need for specificity, or what we would say in the Kolbe world is they're not initiating fact finders like you are. How do you manage so they don't annoy you and you don't annoy them? What have you
Yeah,
done?
I would say on the work side, on the work side, I've been asking the question. Just yesterday, I said to someone, do you want me to give you my suggestion, or do you want me to give you your options, or do you want to hear my thought processes behind this? And I found for myself, I have an easier time controlling the amount of background information I give to people on my research when I ask that question. And so that was very helpful. It's also very helpful to know where they stand. So when I used to work for Steve, he was a high sort of like relationshipy guy and very low on facts. When I knew that about him, something clicked. Oh, right. I don't want him taking me to a dinner party, and he doesn't want an email that takes 20 minutes to read. I still err in, sending, Susan knows, she's seen some of my like blog posts. They're probably longer. Some people don't read the whole thing. And so I would say asking the questions ahead of time helps, but I'm sure the people that I work with would still say, take it down to a 7 kind of a thing.
So bottom line, it's been really helpful to know your pattern over these last years in terms of how you navigate both your personal life and your professional life.
Absolutely. And it also has really helped me really to not second guess it or to wonder why other people aren't like me, and to think to myself, because I remember you saying to me, this is what it is. So, you lean into your strengths. That's kind of one of the things I remember. And so I'm not trying to back off of my need for details. I time box my projects, otherwise it would go forever and I'd never buy that vacuum cleaner. So I do that. But I also am sort of settled into the fact that I enjoy it. I love 8 hours in a spreadsheet. I'll dig into the data and happily, and to accept that about myself, because that's just who I am. That's been very helpful.
That's great. All right. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience. We really
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's nice to see you.